What's up, guys? My name's Captain Stillwater, and welcome to Week 6 predictions for the Smite Pro League. Last week we had a large turn of events, lots of teams shifting positions, and personally what I think is the biggest surprise, Luminosity dropping a game to the Randozos, or more importantly, the Randozos winning their first game. So let's jump over to the standings real quick. We have Enemy, Eager, Soar, Luminosity, Denial, Envious, Allegiance, and the Randozos. There are no undefeated teams in the league now. There you have the North Americans. There are the Europeans, with Panthera being 15-1, because that's just ridiculous. Holy crap, why has Fnatic played so many games? Why has Fnatic played 16 games, and Panthera played 16 games, and nobody else has played 16 games? Who knows? They have yet to hit bye weeks, I presume. But nonetheless, let's just, forget it. Let's just jump back here to the main page and jump on into predictions. So for Week 6, Game 1, we have Soar Gaming going up against the Randozos, albeit they drew their first win. I do believe, I want to double check, because I wasn't really sure last week. We have Walrus solo, yes, and we have Scary D moving over into the Guardian position, and Polar Bear Mike is no longer on the team. A person who people have looked to as the best player on the team, but nonetheless, they have found their first win. They are going up against Soar Gaming, albeit they won. This is going to be a 2-0 for Soar. Game 2, Denial versus Eager. This is a much closer game. Eager's been playing extremely well, and Denial's still been sitting in the middle. I think they're definitely a team that you can't just go up against and think you're gonna run them over. I don't know how I feel too entirely about Denial's lineup. I didn't watch many of the Week 5 games, so my predictions might be a little stretched this week. Who knows? But I am expecting this to be a 1-1 split between Denial and Eager. I think Eager's going to play really well, but I do not think Denial is going to let them have 2 games. Now, that's a grain of salted, because Eager most recently 2-0'd Enemy, right? That was their most recent. Oh my god, internet, please, for the love of God. Okay, well, let's just go back here. Where is it? There you go. They 2-0'd Randozos, and then I believe, hopefully that just jumps back, I believe the games, yes, and before that they 2-0'd Enemy and they beat Soar. So of their past 5 games, they have won all 5. So with that said, I would lean more heavily, so we jump back to Week 6 here because this thing doesn't want to scroll, as I go through this, I lean more heavily towards a 2-0 with Eager. I'm just feeling like Denial's going to put up a good fight. So 2-0 for Soar, Game 1. Now that I've gone over it, I'm going to say 2-0 for Eager, but this could potentially be a 1-1 split. Game 3, Luminosity versus Allegiance. I think this is a 1-1 split. I think Allegiance... I haven't seen Mr. Makey play too much, but I think Luminosity don't look that strong. They gave up a game to Randozos, which is a team they shouldn't be giving up games to. They haven't been playing well the past couple of weeks. They don't look like they're entirely on their stuff, so 1-1 split. Leftovers versus Fnatic. I think this is a 1-1 split also. Leftovers and Fnatic both towards the bottom of the European division. We jump over here. You see Fnatic's in 5th place, but they were most recently in 8th place prior. We jump over to their lineup in a second, and then we have the Leftovers at 4-8. They're 5-11. Looking at them, I'm expecting 1-1 split. I guess Fnatic's not going to load. I don't know why my internet's so slow, but my internet's slow right now, so live with it. Torpedo Gaming versus the Cringe Crew. Most likely going to be a 2-0 for the Cringe Crew. Now, I say that, here they are, they're 7-5, they're in 3rd place. Torpedo's 4-8. So the difference, not that great. It's a 3-game difference between them. But the Cringe Crew have just been on their stuff. They've been winning games people weren't expecting them to win. They came out, they're much stronger than people predicted. I thought Dignitas would be 3rd, but that is not the case. Cringe Crew are currently 3rd, but that's just for this week. We'll see how that advances into the future. Fnatic has loaded. So, obviously there's their team. I just wanted to check. They 2-0'd Torpedo. That's who it was. And they lost to Hungry for More. Oh, man. Oh, Fnatic. That's a 1-1 split. That's a 2-0 for Cringe Crew. Boom. Jumping on. Panthera versus Dig. I think this is a 2-0 for Panthera. I don't expect them to drop too many more games this split. Dignitas definitely has a good chance of winning, but I think Panthera is just too good. Too good. Next game, Paradigm versus Hungry for More. Let's scroll over. I think this is a 2-0 for Paradigm. I think it's pretty obvious. Paradigm, they're in second place. They're 8-4. Hungry for More. They're in 8th place. They're 3-9. I don't think there's too much controversy there over this split. I mean, we can always expect this split now that Smite likes to scroll me back to my starting position every 2 seconds. Now that we've seen a lot of games so far, they could. Obviously, any team can still win, but this is going to be 2-0 for Paradigm. Hungry for More going in the back-to-back in the headers, going up against Dignitas after Paradigm. I expect them to lose both games to Dignitas as well. Dignitas, like I said before, could definitely beat teams. They're definitely really good. They're in the top of the European division, so I expect them to trump them. Moving on, Enemy versus Envious. This is going to be interesting because Envious just had a massive role swap. Like, massive. I think, what? Frickin' MLC Stealth is the only one who kept his position. We're going to scroll one just so Smite doesn't screw me and scroll us all the way back. But anyways, Enemy. I think this is going to be 2-0 for Enemy. But with that said, we need to keep eyes on Envious. Has their role swap been updated on this page? I wonder as we let that load. Moving on, Enemy is in a doubleheader on the 8th against Envious and Soar. Definitely not easy games for them to go into. And I think this is a much more interesting game because Soar has been playing pretty well. That has not loaded yet. So Envious went through the huge role swap, but I don't expect them to win. So I'm saying 2-0 for Enemy. Soar, however, I think is going to 1-1 split, but let us jump over here. We see that they lost 2 games to Denial, they lost 2 games to Enemy, and they lost a game to Allegiance. So, interesting. The update hasn't been made yet on here. Omega has moved from solo to jungle. Ionic has moved from jungle to Guardian. Kiki has moved from Guardian to ADC. Cyclone Spin has moved from ADC to solo, and MLC Stealth has stayed mid. So, if that is the case, we're going to see a lot of changes for this. It'll be interesting how well they play. So that's always something to keep in mind, but I do expect the Enemy 2-0. Against Soar, like I said before, I expect a 1-1 split. Soar has been playing really, really well. So let us jump on. Envious playing Randozos. This is going to be interesting because both teams have gone through shifts recently. And Randozos picked up their first win, and Envy has been losing a lot. And if they lose these 2 games, it would not be surprising to me if this was a 1-1 split. But I am going to lean more heavily towards the 2-0 for Envy, just because of the experience gap and the performances so far. And then the last game for Week 6, Torpedo Gaming versus Paradigm. I think this is also a decently easy one to predict, but Torpedo is not to be counted out so quickly. With that said, this is most likely a 2-0 for Paradigm. That is what I expect for Week 6, guys. Jumping back through it, 2-0 for Paradigm, 2-0 for Envy, 1-1 split, 2-0 for Enemy, 2-0 for Dignitas, 2-0 for Paradigm, 2-0 for Panthera, 2-0 for Cringe Crew, apologies, 1-1 split between Leftovers Fnatic, 1-1 split between LG Allegiance, 2-0 for Eager, and a 2-0 for Soar. And those are your games for Week 6. With that, let me jump on over to one more thing that I wanted to do before we close this out, and that was my Dreamhack predictions. We are halfway through the spring split here. We have made it through Week 5. I believe there are 10 weeks. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's 10 weeks. Is there a way to check really quickly? Let's find out. No, leagues, schedule. So we should be halfway through. There should be a 10-week split. I don't want to see week 6. I want to see... Yeah, there are 10 weeks, so that is what I expect from the league for week 6 of the 10 weeks. But let us do Dreamhack standings. Teams, I think, who are going to make it to Dreamhack. That would be the top 3 teams of each division. I guess they are divisions. Of each division, who is going to Dreamhack? Looking at North America first, which is the tough one. I think Enemy is for sure going to Dreamhack. I think they have pretty much solidified their spot. Obviously, they can still get knocked out because the North American standings are so close and so tight. Teams could rapidly shift in the remaining 5 weeks, as we've seen teams shift so far in the first 5 weeks, but I would expect Enemy to make it. Team Eager has been playing very well, and as of right now, I expect them to go to Dreamhack. And then to Soar. I also expect Soar to go to Dreamhack. So my top 3 teams are currently the top 3 teams in North America. With that said, I really hope Luminosity makes it, and I wouldn't be surprised if Denial or Envious turn around. If Allegiance turned around and made it into Dreamhack, I'd be very surprised, and I don't know the math, but I don't think the Randozos can make it into Dreamhack. So, these are the 3 teams I expect to make it: Enemy, Team Eager, and Soar, with the notions that Lumi and Denial are definitely pushing on the door, especially Luminosity. If they turn it on at any point in time, which these players have been known to do, then you could easily see Luminosity in the top 3 as well. Moving on to European, which for the most part I think is pretty easy. Panthera for sure going to Dreamhack, and Paradigm in my mind is also for sure going to Dreamhack. And that's where we get to the iffy part, and that is the Cringe Crew Team Dignitas debate in my mind. I don't expect Fnatic to make it. I don't expect Torpedo, the Leftovers, or Hungry for More to make it. Like I said before, I don't know the math. I don't know if Hungry for More can still make it, but I'm leaning towards yes. They still have a very slim chance. And then, obviously, Torpedo and Leftovers have a slightly better chance, but they're also still fairly out of it. Fnatic might also not be able to make it because they've already played 16 games. Whereas these teams have only played 12, so they have a lot of games to catch up. So I'm assuming Fnatic is completely out, but maybe not. Anyways, Team Dignitas and the Cringe Crew. I think these are the 2 teams that are going to be battling it out for the 3rd spot in the European standings. And I think that's awesome. I think we're going to actually have a race here to see between which of these teams is going to be able to make it. Personally, my initial feelings leading up till now were Dignitas. I think Dignitas is going to make it. We're going to open these teams up real quick and go through this. Hopefully they load with speed. But knowing my internet, they won't. Oh, wow, that was actually really fast. So you have Irons, Suntouch, Shadow Nightmare, Frostiak, and the Dark Dodo. And you have Shaggy, Shanka, Mealsy, Kira, Repicas, and Axios. I think this team just has the ability to go off on a higher level, like to just come out and play more of an aggressive game. Everyone on this team to me seems like a pretty kill-oriented character. And everybody on this team, not so much. I mean, Irons, he's been playing well. Frostiak, Shadow Nightmare, Dark Dodo. I just feel like this team's more oriented towards unit rotations. Now, with that said, Suntouch is an extremely aggressive Guardian, so I could be completely wrong about this, guys. So, my 3 for Europe are Panthera, Paradigm, and the Cringe Crew. I'm thinking the Cringe Crew are going to make it over Team Dig. I don't know if Team Dig has enough that they can bring to the table to trump these teams and make it into the top 3. I don't know if they're too much of a unidimensional team, but we will see. So my top 3 for North America again, Enemy, Eager, Soar, and my top 3 for Europe are Panthera, Paradigm, and the Cringe Crew. Those are your Week 6 predictions and your Dreamhack predictions. Go get them fantasy points, boys. Shoutouts to Marcus for living through all of this over there quietly while playing Total War. And the Mongols are invading him. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you all next time.